Hello, I'm Rachel. Welcome to Rachel Quilts. Today we are making a trifold pouch, all hand stitched. So this is an example of one my mother made, and it is all covered in scraps of fabric, embellishments, embroideries, ribbons, pom-poms, buttons, handmade buttons actually on this one. And I loved it so much that I wanted to make my own. So at the moment we just have the piece of fabric covered in all my scraps, and I made mine to represent the river because I was down on the Murray River. And in my last video we made this, so if you haven't seen me make this, I'll put the link to that video below. But if you missed it, it's okay, because we're up to the part where I'm going to actually turn this piece of fabric into a trifold pouch. So the plan for this video is to add some more embellishments, and then we need to add the inside piece of fabric and the clasp and sew it up into the trifold. So I'll show you how I do that. So this is what it's looking like at the moment. I have attached pieces of scrap fabric, mostly with a running stitch, sometimes a little cross or a little square. And then since the last video, I've just added some lace. So this here was my grandmother's lace. She made this lace. So I added some there. Oh, I did do a little bit of embroidery along here. Again, this was a piece I had from my grandmother, just in the stash of things that were hers. I'm not sure if she actually made this or whether it was made by someone else. I'm not sure, but as you can see, it's like stained there, which is okay. It shows its age. This was actually part of a bigger piece and I cut it down and then I just tacked it on around the edge. There's some more of that lace and some selvages. So my plan for today, because this trifold opens up, just has a flap, okay, I thought with mine I'm going to have that like that, and this is the fold. My mother's friend Donna lent me this book. It's called The Stitched Landscape, an embroidery field guide, written by Anna Holton. It has some gorgeous ideas on how to transform the natural world into embroidery and stitchery. And I thought, because this is based on the Murray River, I thought I'd like to incorporate some elements of the Murray River, and this book might help me. So I will be referencing this book to make my pouch.
So I decided I'd love to have a river red gum embroidered onto my pouch. So I found a photo online and I'm just sketching that onto my pouch with a heat erasable pen. Now I'm sure that the question on everyone's mind is, how large was my rectangle piece of medium interfacing? It was 10 inches by 16 inches, so I cut a large rectangle. However, Mum's was a little bit thinner but longer, so she has a deeper pouch and it's not as wide. So really you can make any rectangle work. I used 2 strands of a DMC thread, cotton thread, to just do a simple sort of back stitch along the lines that I had drawn in. I was really not trying to be super neat because I did want that sort of painterly look. Sometimes my thread was above the needle as was there, and then here it's below, so I really wasn't trying to be sort of the same in every stitch. Just going with the flow and going as quickly as possible. I then cut bits of fabric to fill in my tree. This was a very, very thin, like cotton fabric, and I just stitched this in place. So a very small back stitch along that one side I was doing. Really just wanted to secure it, but also add some texture to the tree. On the way down, I did sort of a upside down V shapes. Y, upside down Y. No, it's the right way round, Y. Capital Y. So here you can see, it's a little bit off camera, but you can see how I have just laid down the fabric and very roughly cut the piece that I'd like. And as you can see, it was super fine fabric, very almost see-through. Just lay that in there. I then wanted to add in some of these shadows on the tree, or the darker parts of the tree. Again, to give it texture. So I'm thinking this dark green thread would look good. So here I show you how I separate the two strands from the other four. And again, just doing some little tiny stippling sort of stitches. They were sort of going in all directions. Basically just wanted to give some different texture and a bit of shadow into that part of the tree. When I'm stitching, I often forget that I need enough to tie off at the back, and I'm just really just going. And I haven't realized yet that I don't really have that much thread left, but watch me make one more stitch before I turn it over to tie off at the back. I go through my stitch twice and then make the bottom of the needle go through the loop and out. Snip that off. All right, these leaves, I just used a lazy daisy stitch, a singular sort of chain stitch. So to make this stitch, pop the needle up at the beginning of the leaf, go down into the same position and then along the length of the leaf, and then back down over the loop so that it is held in place. So once again, I go up where I want the leaf to begin, get that thread out of the way, pop down into the same hole along, and I'll catch that thread, and then you anchor the thread with one more stitch over the top. So up, down, up, and down. I then just did some long stitch with just one thread of the DMC cotton to make some grass at the base of the tree. Now onto the water. I thought this silver thread would just add that little bit of sparkle
that you see in the river when the sun hits it. So I use this thread, just one strand of it, to just do some more running stitch. You don't see me do all of this because, I mean, you know how to do a running stitch, but I put this thread, I made about 4 passes in between my other running stitch with this silver thread. It doesn't show up very well in the camera, but it was sparkly and I did think it looked good. But to make the river look even more obvious, I thought I would put a little bit more fabric. I've got this fabric here with some blue swirls on it that I thought would be appropriate. So I just cut out a wiggly shape. This is in fast motion. Look at me cut. What a professional. Yep, I'm happy with that. And then I secured this with a small little running stitch. So as you can see, my little river scene is coming along. I have the river red gum on the bank over the water. Lovely, so gorgeous. I've never done anything like that. I quite enjoyed that. So I think I've finished embellishing it. I could make more and more and more embellishments on it, but I actually just want to finish this so I can get on with some quilting projects. My mother's bag does have way more embellishments on it. Lots of stitching, buttons, embroidery, French knots, daisies and things, but I think that will do me. I'm planning to use this as like a clutch when I go out, like ding. So I'm not even going to put a clasp on it because the fold will just hang down and then I'll be able to just get into it very easily. So no clasp either. So now I just need to put the inside fabric on it and stitch up the sides. I was looking at Mum's carefully, trying to work out how she did it. So it looks like she just used a piece of fabric and tucked the ends under so it was a nice folded edge, and she has done a really small stitch around the edge to hold that in place, and then she has folded up this side and stitched down the edge, stitched down the 2 bits of fabric there. So quite simple. It did cross my mind that you could bind this all around the edge of the fabric, like put the 2 fabrics together, the inside and then this, and do a bind like you would bind a quilt and then fold it up, but that would make a very definite edge, very clean. So that would be good if you liked that look, but because this is all a bit, you know, raggedy, I've got raggedy edges, I've got threads going everywhere, it's very rustic, I guess you might say, that I don't want to have that sort of edge, a clean cut edge. I think I'll just do it the way Mum has done it. That way she has kept all these fabrics, they're actually raw edge fabrics here, and I like that look. So I'm going to go with that. This is the fabric I've chosen. It's actually a Liberty Lawn fabric, but just has the beautiful, the same sort of colors as my piece. So I thought that would be beautiful. The other thing is this piece of interfacing that I used, it was just a medium interfacing. It actually has the little, when you feel it, the glue dobs on the inside. So once I cut my piece of lawn, fold over the edges and iron, so it's perfectly the same size as this, I could then iron them together and it would actually glue to the back. So that is my plan. So to measure how much I need, I can't even remember how much this piece of fabric was, the interfacing when I cut it, and the other thing is it might have changed size as I was sewing. All the stitches, it could have shrunk. So the way I'm going to measure it is just pop it on top. I'm going to leave about 1 centimetre around each edge, and that's going to be what I am folding under. This is in inches, so I guess I'll do something with inches, won't I? 1/2 inch. So let's pull it so it's sitting 1/2 inch away, a bit further this way. And 1/2 inch away from that side. Then I know that I'll just fold 1/2 inch over, iron it, and then stitch a really tiny whip stitch along the edge. Let's go. Alright, that will do. Now I'm gonna, with the interfacing, you can't drag too much, so it's gonna be, take the steam off, just about 7 seconds each area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that has stuck to that really nicely. So that's going to make it easier when I do my little whip stitch. Lovely. Lovely. Isn't that the most divine fabric? Oh, beautiful fabric. So gorgeous. It's nice to have some quiet time in the house. My daughter is working and my husband and son have gone to the footy, as in my son is playing footy for the under 15s, and I usually go, but I said, oh, I really need to stay home and finish this pouch. Everyone is waiting for it. So I'm just going to do a little whip stitch. Oh, my light's gone off. That would be handy. I might have to charge it. So just a tiny little whip stitch is what Mum did by the looks of it. But you guys know what a whip stitch is, so you don't need to see me do this. Just tiny little stitches from one side to the other. Oh, I've already got a knot. I wish this light was working. Annoying. Okay, I'm going to whip stitch this. I'm going to get some better lighting. I'm going to get rid of this knot. I just started, really, honestly.
my trifold pouch is complete. I still might put a clasp on it, just a button and a ribbon would work. So please leave me a message and let me know what was your favourite part about this pouch. Is it this gorgeous fabric that's on the inside, or perhaps it was the embroidery of the river red gum? Thank you for watching my videos. I always appreciate it, and I love talking to you all in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, now's your chance. I mostly post quilting videos though, so next time we might start another quilt. We'll see you then. Bye.